Do you want to build your business by speaking? Do you find it difficult to find places to speak at? Perhaps you have no clue how to pitch yourself to these places, or perhaps you are intimidated by pitching yourself to hosts. If this is you, you want to stay tuned. Welcome to Biz Success in 15 podcast. I'm your host, Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz, and I'm here to guide you as you step into who you are with outrageous confidence. You'll want to be sure to get your 9-step checklist for more visibility, influence, and profits. Just visit visibilitychecklist.com. Today, I'll be speaking to Jackie Lapin, and we're going to be talking about how to write the proposal letter that will get you booked on stages. Now, Jackie's mission is to help leaders, entrepreneurs, coaches, and authors just like you find and secure their next clients by getting in front of more audiences faster. Her company, Speakertunity, has researched hundreds of thousands of speaker-led contacts and has curated them to meet the needs of their community. Her Speakertunity members-only program provides leads for live and virtual events and meetings, conferences, podcasts, radio shows, video casts, virtual summits, TEDx events, and more. It's the ultimate speaker toolbox, one-stop shopping for the speaker. So welcome, Jackie. It's a pleasure to have you.
Cindy, I'm delighted to be here. It is always wonderful to be with you because you are so committed to helping people grow.
Well, thank you very much. Just as you are, you're one of my favorite people. Love you to death. So let's get started here. Why is it important to be seeking stages that are right for you?
So if you have a mission, if you have a skill that you can share with others, you are depriving the world of not doing it. And in today's world where AI has taken over and so many things are inauthentic, they can replicate all aspects of your writing and your voice and your face. Being in front of people is the one place they know they get the authentic you. And it's when the low like and trust factor goes sky high. When they see you, when they feel you, then that's when they're going to want what you offer. So it behooves you not to hide and be fearful of putting yourself out there. So you can either, start small with podcasts and summits and work your way up to stages. Or if you're already doing great work in local meetings, you can step up to conferences. So you want to be able to grow as you can expand, as you feel confident on stage. And you want to be in the places where your target audience is going to be. If you know who your avatar is, you have to be where they are and where they are already hanging out. So you need to be in the position of reaching out to bookers who control those audiences to look and ask for the speaking opportunities that is going to make a difference. And so if you're looking to start reaching out to meetings, venues, associations, and conferences, this is where you need to get serious about things.
I love that. You talked about like fear. Do you find that people are just as afraid of virtual speaking as they are in-person speaking?
I think there's less fear when it comes to virtual speaking to some degree, because they're already more used to that. They've been talking on Zoom. And of course, we're 4 years post-pandemic start. So people have really gotten more adjusted to that. But it's the same process. And being in front of a live stage, people, I think the thing that happens most is people start thinking, oh, they're judging me. I'm not living up to their expectations. I'm not doing anything that, I'm doing something that turns them off, or I'm not presenting well. Well, I got news for you. Get over yourself. They don't care about you. What they care about is, do you have valuable information that's going to transform their lives? And if you get on stage from the standpoint of, I'm here in service to these people, they need what I have, I'm here to make their lives better, those butterflies should disappear.
Yes. And I think it's so important to know that we're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but the right people are going to hear your voice and they're going to be attracted to it and drawn to it. Years ago, it was one of the first events I went to, and Brian Tracy was speaking there. Now, my girlfriend had came with me just to support me, and she hated Brian Tracy. I fell in love with this man. I was buying his products left and right, and she just didn't get it. She absolutely did not get it. But also, she's the one, bless her heart, that asked me, Cindy, aren't you self-improved yet? And I said, girl, I'm never going to be self-improved. And so if you're trying to reach every single person, that shouldn't be, to me, it shouldn't be what's top of mind, is that you're there to speak to a certain subset, your ideal clients that are going to be in that audience, and don't expect every single one of them to be your ideal client.
And you need only one in some cases to justify the time and expense that you put into being on that stage. It's just the right person. I remember talking to a guy named Doug Vermeeren, who was a good friend of mine. And he said he talked to an audience of 30,000 one day, gave the same speech to a room full of 30 the next day. He made way more money in the room full of 30 because it was exactly the right audience.
Exactly. Yeah, sometimes with the bigger audiences, you definitely have lots of different ideas there. And I think we're sort of leading into why is it so important to be speaking or seeking the stages that are right for you?
So you need to be a market match for your target audience. Once you've really established who they are, then it becomes easier for you to actually find the right speaking gigs for you. Do they hang out, at spiritual centers? Do they hang out at business conferences? Do they hang out at women's business conferences? You want to be where they are. Do they hang out at women's business meetings? So, you want to slide into where the specific audience is that are as aligned with the message that you're delivering and the products that you can help solve their problems.
I love what you just said, because even whenever I'm speaking with my clients and they might say, oh, well, I'm a coach, so I'm in all these Facebook groups about coaches. But then I go, but who else is your ideal client? Are they a spiritual? Because if they're spiritual, you also want to be in those spiritual groups. Do they believe in the law of attraction? Get into those law of attraction groups. Are they moms? Get into those mom groups, right? Because you're going to find your ideal. And you're saying basically the same thing whenever you're looking for those stages. It has to be your ideal audience. But also, don't get too narrowed in on a specific niche.
Yes, absolutely. But as they say, the riches are in the niches. And so, you need to focus on one. Too many people think, oh, my product is perfect for everybody. That is not the case.
It's always, if you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one.
Exactly.
When I first started coaching, I was so adamant that I did not need a niche. This was in 2008 even. I did not need a niche. I worked in social services for 20 years. I knew how to help people with all kinds of different problems, right? Because that's what I had been doing for 20 years. And when I became a coach, I just thought, hey, what a novice idea. I can have people pay me because they really want to change versus being told they have to change, being told that they have to be doing these things. But my very first year of coaching, I made a whooping $500. And so then I chose a niche, which was coaching divorced women. And my second year of coaching, I made 20,000. So for me, just from choosing a niche met $19,500 extra. And then it's continued to grow ever since then. And so it's so important to know who you're talking to, because otherwise you're killing your business.
I couldn't agree more.
Yes. And So let's talk a little bit about the pitch letter. I mean, how do we write a pitch letter that's really going to get the attention of the people that's choosing the speakers? Sometimes that can be the hardest part, and we just don't know what to say or we blabber on too much. So, how do we write that perfect pitch letter?
So I'm going to tell you to do that. And this is going to be the start of your challenge. This is going to be how I'm going to walk you through each piece, and then you need to go and do this. So grab your pen or your computer, your second computer, and start on this. So the first element and most important is, what do you do to transform the audience? When you write that, dear, the next sentence somehow has to allude to how you're going to improve the lives of this booker's audience. What do you do to solve their problems? What is the problem that's keeping them awake nights that you can fix? So your first letter, the first part of your letter has to do something like, I'm aware that your audience is doing such and such and such and such and is struggling with this. Here, I have the solution. And so you need to really address, and you can do this either, by the way, in the first person or in the third person. I happen to like writing it in the third person because it's easier for some people to write it because it doesn't feel so personal. So that first one is, you can say is, so what, Jenny Jones comes to you, is looking to solve this problem for your audience. If this is if you see this is what they're struggling with, so you better know pretty likely that this is what they're dealing with, because your avatar and the booker, the organization that you're trying to book. So you state in a nice way, in a creative way, what the problem is and how you resolve it. And it could be even there where you say the name of your presentation. Now, the next part of that's part one. The next part two, is all about you. Why you? What is it that you do? What are your credentials? What have you done? What books you have written? What certifications you have? What results you've gotten? So that you explain to them that you are the authority and the expert in this field. So that is section 2. Now you've got to really flesh that out. Write all the reasons why you should be. Now, keep in mind, we're only going to write maybe 6 to 7 paragraphs. So you can't put in all of your credentials. You need to touch it very quickly, a very brief bio that only really talks about the highlights of why you qualified to speak on this particular topic.
I want to interject just for a minute. Like, whenever you're authoring books too, and I have discovered this for myself, that I wrote a very personal memoir of my life, overcoming dark family secrets. But I noticed when I was mentioning that there is such a disconnect, because people's like, how does your memoir of overcoming dark family secrets, how does that deal with visibility? Well, to me, it's all about the confidence I created over the years, but people don't get that right away. And so therefore I've had to realize that I had to separate them, because it was actually detracting my ideal clients because they didn't understand. And
I agree. You need to really put in books that are related to the topic that you're teaching on. Yeah. I have 2 books in personal growth that was bestsellers. I never include that when I'm talking about speaking. It's just not the right fit. Right. But here's something you should know. A book will get you booked faster.
Yeah. Now, how about collaboration books? Now, I never thought of doing this till just now, but I was in the Women Speakers Association's I forget exactly what it is, but it's always about women, women overcoming whatever. But I was in 2 of those books for 2 years. One of them was, I think, Women Overcoming Obstacles, and then Women Changing Lives in the World, something like that. So because those were a little bit more business oriented, and again, it's through Women Speakers Association, would those be good books to state that I was a part of?
I would say that I've written 2 featured articles in the Women's Speakers Association best-selling books. That's how I would phrase it.
I love that because so many people are in these collaboration books, but they're not, don't have their own book that they could use. So that's, I think, be very helpful to a lot of people. So thank you. So the next step.
Okay, so the next step is, what social proof do you have that you would be worthy on their stage? So, what other stages have you been on? What major, do you have testimonials or endorsements from leading figures, not from your small client over there. It's got to be somebody that they would recognize, whose position they would recognize, or a previous booker that says, oh my God, she knocked my socks off, and our audience was just enthralled, and that kinds of stuff. So you need the social proof to demonstrate, I spoke at Google, I spoke at the National Conference for Women, and, whatever it might be, you got to put that social proof in there.
Okay. And I need to interject again, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like me. Speaking has never been one of my goals until this year, but I have lots of experience speaking on summits and podcasts. So one of the podcasts that I spoke on was Mark Mawini. Mark Mawini's pretty well known, and he did write me a little blurb about being on his podcast. So are those acceptable things to put in the pitch?
Yes, but I would say it's got to be highly recognizable. And you can also say, I've appeared on 132 podcasts or something like that. And the sheer volume shows that you are, in demand. So that's
okay.
Another way to do that.
I'd have to go back and count them all, but no. But
Yeah,
I know it's been over 100. So would it be?
For example, one of the things that I say in my a lot of times when I'm presenting myself is, I have booked more than 10,000 interviews and speaking engagements.
Right. I love
That's
that. Okay.
Automatically people are going to know that I'm an expert.
Now, what about the people that have zero speaking experience? What are they going to put in there?
They can put in that they have a following of, X 2,000. I'm sorry, 20,000 followers on social media, for example.
Okay.
Start looking for the numbers that can justify that you are an expert in your field.
So even with that, if you have an email list, let's say 1,500, and you have 3,000 contacts on LinkedIn, that's 4,500, and you have another 2,000 on Facebook, that's 6,500, and then you have 15,000 on Instagram, you can honestly say, I have a community of over 20,000 followers.
Correct. You certainly can.
Okay.
That will work. That's an excellent suggestion. Yep. All right. So that now we're down to the two other things that are really important. One is a speaker one sheet. And a speaker one sheet is a beautiful 2-page glossy that gives the following things: your full bio, a more extensive bio than you can put in this pitch, beautiful shots of you, either headshots or on stage, and if you can use both actually on a 2-pager, a couple of testimonials, preferably from people who booked you, but if not, from your clients or from people who've heard you speak. You want to trade them out for one. You got great ones from bookers. And then on the backside, you want 3 different presentations, because if you only have one arrow in your quiver, it had better be a bullseye. So if you have 3, you're going to give people choice, and it could be the same presentation repurposed for different audience, written different ways. It could be 3 entirely different topics in your specialty. It could be 3 topics that directed at different kinds of audience, because you've got one for nonprofits, and you've got one for profit-making businesses, and you got one for just women, whatever it might be. You want to give them a choice of 3. And let me tell you how they're going to write those presentations. 1 is a really snappy title. 2 is going to be a 1-paragraph description, and then 4 to 5 bullet points of what you want. Now, that we can help you with that over at Speakertunity. We've got a real simple way, an inexpensive way to you don't have to know exactly what to put in it. We'll tell you, and we can turn them back to you in 3 to 5 days. Now, on your pitch, you're going to say, I have attached my speaker sheet, or here is a link to see my speaker sheet online, so that they can see more about you. and you don't overload the pitch letter. The next thing that you want is video. You say, and here is a link to some video on me. And this should be only 3 to 5 minutes, not your whole presentation. 3 to 5 minutes that look fabulous. Now, if you don't have stage video, you can use digital from a Zoom or something like that when you're presenting to a group. But I encourage you as soon as you can to get into a room and start getting standing video. Now that live is back in a big way, people want to see you in front of a stage. There are several ways to do that. You can speak at an event and hire your own video talk. You can speak at an event that has a videographer and then buy the video or ask for it as a gift. You can rent your own hotel room, get all your friends, and hire a videographer for come to that. And then the last is that there are some showcases out there, places where you can actually get your video done that will enable you to get on those stages and get that video done. And if you want to reach out to me, I can tell you where you can get that done. And that's like in front of a mock audience. So all of those things. And then the last thing you want to have is your call to action. You want to put in there a lovely paragraph, and there's 2 different ways. You can say, would you please consider me for your next meeting or for this event? And by the way, if it's a themed conference, make sure that what you're pitching is aligned with that conference. They need to know that it's right for that specific concept. But anyway, so you want to say, so one option is, would you please consider me for? The other option is, or please consider me for. The other option is to say, I would love to have a meeting with you briefly to kind of get to know your community and make sure that, I can, all of this, that I know how to make this fit for you, for your people, and to explore what you're looking for right now. So you can ask for the meeting or ask for the booking. And then don't make them trace you down. Give them a phone number and email. Tell them how best to connect with you. You don't want to miss the opportunity if they do respond back. Now, keep in mind, so that's your challenge. But once you do that, you still have to find it, send it, and you need to do the follow-up, because a lot of times, they won't see it. So you can, I go by the rule of 3. 2 phone calls and an email, 2 emails and 1 phone call, and then try them on LinkedIn or Facebook Messenger. And then if they don't respond, let that one go.
I love that. So great tips. And so to our listeners, your 15-minute mission, if you choose to accept it, is to write a sample pitch letter for yourself that you can start utilizing right away. And so the last question I have for you, Jackie, is how do you find the gigs?
So you can spend a lot of time out on Google, looking for business meetings or whatever kind of meeting you want in your marketplace. You can also look for conferences by keyword, the subject matter that you're looking at. You can go to places like the association, the directory of associations. If you're looking for associations, you can go to Events in America if you're looking for events. Or we've got some shortcuts for you at Speakertunity. We have a membership program that will give you a podcast or summits or speaker leads across North America, or 4,000 conferences every month where they're divided into your 20 different subject matters that are right for you. And it tell you what your live, virtual, or hybrid. Or you can get regional directories, niche directories. We can give you a TEDx directory. And make it really, really simple for you to find the gigs that you're looking for. Now, let me also say that if you don't want to do this outreach yourself, we have ways to help you. We have a VA service that'll take these leads and pursue them for you. We have if you're already advanced, we have a Meeting Planner Connect where you can submit your profile and what you speak on to 10,000 meeting planners at the same time. We also have a booker, a speaker representation booker who has 12 years of experience that'll go after paid engagements for you. But keep in mind, sometimes you can make a lot more money speaking to sell from the stage than you can in a paid engagement. But either way, we have all the different resources and all the different leads that are going to make your life easier at Speakertunity.
Absolutely love that. And afford the cost of Speakertunity is way less than what you would pay a VA to do all these researches for you. So that's something to think about. You might think, oh, if you want to take all that time and energy yourself, it's one thing. But if you're going to be paying somebody, you might as well just take the shortcut and go to Speakertunity.
Well, and we only start at $47 a month. That's
Mhm.
when you talk about the kind of time you'd invest. It's
Right.
a bargain.
Yeah. Thank you, Jackie. And I know you have a great gift for our audience. Can you share what it is?
It is. So now that you've started on this process, I'm going to give you the 12 things to say in your speaker proposal letter that is going to get you booked. This is going to go into more detail about exactly what you should be saying in that letter that's going to get the booker to say yes. So, when you're writing this letter, this will be an A for you.
Mhm. I love that. And so to get your 12 things to say in your speaker proposal letter that will get you booked, you want to visit cindyjholbrook.com/speakers. So that's my name, Cindy, C-I-N-D-Y, J Holbrook, HOLBROOK.com/, all lowercase, speakers, SPEAKERS. And download that and start making and go check out Speakertunity while you're at it and start getting yourself booked. So thank you, Jackie. It's been a pleasure as always. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
Don't hide your light under a bushel, and you're going to really need to commit the time to doing your booking if you want to get on those stages to make a difference. People out there are waiting for you. So book 3 hours of your time in your calendar every week to spend on booking, and you will see yourself soar. Your clients will be flying into your community, and you will be making a big impact in the world.
Well, thank you again, Jackie. Definitely my pleasure to be able to interview you and speak with you as always. And I hope you have a great day. To our listeners, you want to be sure to tune in next week for another episode of Biz Success in 15. And hop on over to visibilitychecklist.com and get your 9-step visibility checklist for more visibility, influence, and profits. Have a great week. Bye-bye.